Today's first amazing woman in business that will be sharing her story is Rachael Watt. Rachael knows that you can create a business and life that you love on your terms by being true to you, backing yourself and taking massive action. Rachael Watt is an award-winning marketer, international speaker and leading business growth strategist. Rachael's passion is providing other business experts with the roadmap, skills and confidence to build their own six-figure business on their terms. Now, to share her journey and secrets to success in business and life, please welcome Rachael Watt.
It is so awesome to have the opportunity to be here with you all today and share just a little bit of my journey with you. You see, the difference between the business and life you have and the business and life you want is you. Every single one of you has a story and has moments and situations that have shaped who you are. And for me in my life, I too have had moments that have shaped me and made me what I am today. And I actually want to share 3 of those pivotal points in my journey with you today. The first was when I transitioned from my high-powered corporate role into the world of entrepreneurship. The second was when I made the decision to leave a non-serving relationship and become a single mother. And the third was when I lost everything, hit rock bottom, and how I was able to bounce back. You see, for me, it was 2006. And from anyone looking in at my life, they would have thought I had the perfect lifestyle. I was a senior corporate marketing executive for one of the biggest banks in Australia. I had this party lifestyle on the northern beaches of Sydney. I had an apartment that overlooked the harbour, the opera house, the bridge. I didn't have any money worries. You know, I had a salary most people would die for. And to anyone looking in, they would have thought, this girl has the best life. Now, that might have looked the case, but for me, living that life, I felt empty and unfulfilled and like, is this my life? You see, I set a goal when I was very young that I wanted to be top of that corporate game. And I was lucky enough that I hit those ranks at age 26. So this time I was 28 and I was going, oh my God, is this what the next 30 years of my life is going to be like? Is this what I have to look forward to? You know, I'd been schooled and I'd worked hard to get where I was going to go. But I saw myself on this corporate Groundhog Day thinking there has to be something more. And I remember praying to the universe. One day I was walking home and I remember it quite clearly and I was going, please, give me a sign, send me something. And let me tell you, you've got to be careful what you wish for because 2 things came my way in the space of the same week. And the first thing was I was introduced to the world of entrepreneurship and personal development. Now that was new to me. I'd been schooled to be an employee. And the second thing is I was introduced to the person who was going to change my world forever when I found out I was pregnant with my son, Callum. All of a sudden, in the space of a week, I had this new purpose. It wasn't at all what I thought the purpose of my life was going to be, but I had a new purpose, and I was all in, ready to take up this next challenge. I'd asked for it, and the universe delivered. So I went all in. With the world of entrepreneurship and personal development, for me, it was like Pandora's box had been opened. There was suddenly a new way of thinking, a new way of earning money, a new way of being, and I just thought, this is the path for me. I am all in on this journey, and I knew that it was exactly where I wanted to go. So for the next 3 years, I transitioned from the corporate world to being a consultant because that's what they taught was step 1. So I became this consultant. I mapped my business model and I created my first marketing product. And I was set to hit the market because I realized, shit, I have skills. I have knowledge that people out there, out with this corporate world, actually really want to hear and want to know. So I was destined to I am going to share this. But there was a problem. I was stuck in a rut, and I was stuck in a relationship where my whole focus was making my partner's dreams become a reality, and I really didn't have room to make my own a reality. And that took me to pivotal point number 2 in my journey. When in 2010, I made the decision to become a single mom. I made the decision to leave a non-serving relationship. And why was it non-serving? Well, I'd really forgotten who I was in this relationship. There was definitely no room for me to be me, as I just said, and no room for me to make my dreams a reality that for 3 years I'd been jumping up and down wanting to do, and there was no love or connection. My son was 2 years old at this point, and I knew that this decision, although it was my decision, was going to change his world as well. And I knew that I was going to be solely responsible for this other little human, little being, and shaping him into being someone we could both be proud of. And although it was my decision, like I said, I was grieving. This wasn't what the chapter or the story of this part of my life I thought was going to be. So I was grieving this newfound status of single motherhood and doing it on my own. There's a story that goes around with every situation that we tell ourselves. But I was faced with two choices. I could wallow in my newfound status and story, or I could strive and thrive and move forward to do what I actually wanted to do, and that's what I chose to do. So in that next year, I did build my business. I launched my first company, Marketing Key International, MKI. I compartmentalized my life to make it a reality. And in the first 8 months of launch, we made a high multiple six-figure income. Just missed that seven-figure milestone. So finally, for the first time, I was living my truth, and I was the commander of my own ship. And it was such a good feeling. But you see, but this is when the third pivotal point in my journey came. I'd been an entrepreneur in business for 2 to 3 years now. We'd helped hundreds of people create 6 to 7 figure empires following the marketing programs and systems that I taught. But I wanted more. I was in a completely different mindset and different life stage, and I wanted more. I think about that now and I think, oh God. But I also thought to myself, I've only been this entrepreneur for 2 to 3 years. I'm still like the apprentice. I call it my entrepreneurial apprenticeship phase. I felt like the apprentice in there, and I felt like because I'd never hit that 7-figure income barrier, that I had to follow the path of those that were further along than me and those that were doing that. And the biggest lesson in my life and in my business came when this legend in the business world heard me speak at an international conference and said he wanted to partner with me, that we should create a business together that with his network and my skills, we could be unstoppable. Now this was music to my ears. I was like, oh my God, there's this veteran, he wants to work with me, this is gonna be so awesome. And of course, I was all in. He introduced me to a lifestyle I knew was there, but I never thought I could be part of. Red carpet events in LA, meeting celebrities, all sorts of stuff. I erred with caution though. I did get contracts put in place, clear agreements, and I thought I'd cross the T's and dot the I's. But I soon came to realize that not everyone has the same integrity in business. Not everyone is their word or is as honest. And 6 months of working on some amazing projects, as he was right, the business was a success. And we did hit that 7-figure income milestone. But none of the 50-50 revenue split that we agreed hit my bank account. So for 6 months, I lived off savings. I paid our team of money in the bank. I had to find money for the big tax fees and then, of course, legal bills, because after 6 months of this conversation going back and forward, I decided to seek legal advice to try and recoup the funds and also have those agreements honored. Now, after months of going back and forward in this legal system, I was emotionally drained. I'm sure many of you could probably relate to that feeling of being emotionally drained. And my lawyer said to me, Rach, you will win, but you will still have to get the money out of this individual. And it's going to take hours. And it's going to be even more emotionally draining than it was in the first place. You should walk away. For the sake of you, your family, my son was now 7. He said, you should walk away and go and build yourself back up again. So that was really, really hard to make the decision to do that. How could someone not be their word or not honor that or let another individual who was just trying to grow as much as them go through this situation. But I did walk away. They said, let the systems in place help you. So in August 2015, I ended up liquidating the company and declaring bankruptcy. So here I was, a single mom, broken, bankrupt, embarrassed, all these emotions, thinking to myself, how did I get myself here? And how was I going to find the strength to get myself out of it? And I remember sitting at my kitchen breakfast bar with my head in my hands. You know those moments at night when the house is all quiet? And looking at the finances, and there was $3.65 in the bank. We're winning, right? $3.65 in the bank, and I thought, what is my next best move? What am I going to do? And again, I was faced with two choices. I could play victim to my situation and get enrolled in what had happened in the poor me cycle, or I could pick myself up, get real, and get back on the bus. And that's exactly what I did. So I streamlined my whole life. I got real. I asked myself, what do I want? And what is really important to me? And what is definitely going to be the next step for me and my son? So I went back to basics. I simplified everything. I actually went back to consulting because I thought to myself, how on earth can I get up on a stage and teach people to have a successful business when I just lost mine? I needed to heal from that, and I needed to come back from that. So I downsized our living from a home that was expensive to run to an apartment, which is so much easier to run. I went from having crazy expenses in this lifestyle to having a lifestyle that I love that cost me less than $50,000 a year to sustain. And in those 3 years preceding that decision, I still made a 6-figure income. And because my living expenses were lower, I was still able to take my son to Europe for 4 months. I was still able to enjoy life. And when I think about what was the steps that I did to bounce back and how did I get back on top again, there was 4 pillars or cornerstones or things that I did or words that I now resonate with what I actually had transpire. And these 4 words actually make up a word. And I heard another speaker use this word as an analogy, and I thought that is the perfect way to put it into context for you guys today. So that word is hail. Not the big balls of ice that fall from the sky, but hail, to be deemed good enough, to be perfect just the way you are. Now the H in hail stands for honesty. Here it's about getting clear and real with yourself and asking yourself, what do you want? And why do you want it? And once you know what you want, what would you do differently in your business and life right now to change the situation? And then once you're clear what you really want, you will be able to make every decision from that standpoint. You'll say, is this going to take me further away from where I want to go, or is it going to take me closer? The A stands for authenticity. In the words of Gary Vaynerchuk, be you because everybody else is taking. And to be honest, if you're trying to be someone you're not, it's just damn exhausting. So be you and be true to you. The I stands for integrity. Now, most people know integrity is being your word. And you absolutely have to be your word, but you have to be true to you. Trust your instinct. If it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. And the final is love. Love yourself. Believe in you and know that you are enough. Do not listen to the good opinion of others. You can listen, wish them well, but don't take it on. Love you and stay true to you always. Because every single one of you here has a story. And I want to leave you with this saying. You've all had a story. You've all had situations that shaped you and had to make choices about how you dealt with them. But I'm here to say there is nothing stronger than a woman who has put herself back together. So believe in you. Back yourself. Take massive action and never let the setbacks of the past determine your future. Acknowledge it, learn from it, and let it go. Because the difference between the business and life you have and the business and life you want is you. So hail you and go create that business and life you love on your terms. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. That was awesome. Wow, wasn't that fantastic? I just love listening. That was so good.
Thank you.
Now, earlier on, I went round the room and I collected some questions.
Oh, okay.
So we've got some audience questions. I have an
Okay.
audience question for you that I have over here in my little thing here.
Okay.
So it's not going to be too tricky, I swear. Let's see. Where's your question? Out of all the marketing strategies and tactics out there to get clients, what's the number one thing you recommend when trying to hit six-figure success and more?
Okay, well, I think if you want to hit six figures in the business, the number one thing you have to do is leave the house. You have to do exactly what you guys are doing here today. You have to get out and about. You have to connect, collaborate. Connection is your currency. And if you do want to have success, you got to get out there and tell people what you're doing. So leave the house, connect, and give value. Don't connect to sell. Connect to share, to give value and build trust and relationships with those that you want to do business with. And that's how you're going to get to the success. Marketing's never about you. It's always about your client and what you can do for them.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank
Let's give
you.
Rachel a huge round of applause.
Thank you. Thanks.
That was great.